What's up, what's up, what's up, everybody? It's that time of the day, that time of the week, that time of the month.
Yeah, it is.
You're listening to The Good, The Band, The Ugly. I'm Big Papa.
And I'm Jeff.
Jeff on a remote. Slide this out here. So as I'm sure a bunch of you know, that the Syracuse area is not experiencing a great weather event right now. I keep looking over like you're right here.
Hey, I'm not there.
Yeah, I know. I can tell. How you doing, brother?
Good, man. How are you?
Good. I'm glad you're home safe in this inclement weather now. You got back there.
Yeah.
But there's no way you were
good.
There's no way you were gonna miss this show.
No, not one bit.
We've been waiting for this show for basically since we started this version of the podcast. For a while now. So
yeah, for sure.
You know, all I'm going to say is the next gentleman that's going to be coming on here for the show. He has such a resume that we're just going to let him talk about it.
It's huge. It's huge.
And we've been very excited to have him on. So without further ado, let's bring on Mr. Billy Sheehan.
Okay.
It's like I can hear
there he is.
Boom.
There he is.
We are so happy to have you here, Billy.
It's my pleasure.
It is incredible.
Thank you so much.
Your
pleasure.
resume. Well, first of all, as people know, we try to get as many people from New York and upstate New York on the show. Billy being from Buffalo originally, not there now. Thank goodness for your, living someplace with better climate, I'm sure. But your resume, I mean, my God, Talas and working with Steve Vai and Lee Roth and Mr. Big is just it's killing it again at the tours, and I see that you're selling out like crazy all over the place. Winery Dogs just as well. What a whirlwind. I mean, that's just incredible.
Well, thank you very much. I've had a good run, and I'm very grateful, that's for sure.
I don't think people realize, and Billy, I know that everybody probably goes through the same old fact sheet about you, looking at the Wikipedia and all that crap. But, anything you've ever played, I've listened to just the way you play it. And it doesn't matter the genre of music, because I've heard your self-named album. And, I mean, cuts like, Elbow Grease, and then turn it around with something like Tossing in the Fire from the other album. I mean, there's just such versatile writing there. But, man, your bass playing is just... I know people have compared it to like the Eddie Van Halen of bass because of the two-handed way you play and everything. But it's just incredible. And
well, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Yep.
Yeah, it's been a good run. I grew up in a time when we listened to everything, so I was never stuck in one genre pretty much. So hard rock is my thing. I've drifted over into fusion and jazz and prog, and I even produced a songwriter here in Nashville that's a little bit countrified. So.
Really?
I drift over that. Don't worry, I'm not going country.
Now, so stepping into the country world, are we?
It's not my thing. I mean, I like old school, like Conway Twitty or Johnny Cash, some of the really old guys. But it's not my thing.
What do you think about the we've had over the course of even the heavier stuff, the crossover between bands like Anthrax doing some rap infusion with metal back in the day, but now we're seeing country mixing with some heavy stuff. What do you think about? I mean, are you into that aspect of it at all, or?
Well, I don't get a chance to listen to a lot of stuff. I'm usually working on something. I'm in my studio here now today. We recorded all day for a client, and when I do listen to stuff, it's mostly classical music, so I don't really pay attention to a lot of the scene.
Right.
Once in a while, something will catch my ear, maybe, but it takes a lot of time, and a lot of people would assume that I would sit down with the new whatever band record and get excited about it. I did in the '60s and '70s,
right,
and maybe or the early '80s, but it's just as you get older, if I listen to something, I'll put on I don't know, Sinatra or the Everly Brothers, or we had the crew guys on the bus, European tour with the Winery Dogs, and we started playing a whole bunch of more recent things. Well, and even that is pretty old, like Screaming for Vengeance, Judas Priest, Accept, bands like that. And but even that now is pretty old music. It's not really anything new. It's hard. And I have a huge collection of music. I got over 2 terabytes of my iTunes collection, and it's well taken care of. All the album cover art's in the right place, and all the song titles are correct. And it's quite a endeavor. I spent hundreds and hundreds of hours on it, finding the best stuff and finding the things I love and discovering things that are impossible. And it has two kind of ways the pendulum swings. The most amazing music you could ever imagine that you've never heard of before, and some of the absolute worst music known to mankind. And both have their charm to them, if you will. Sure. And but yeah, I don't listen to. I'm not a country. God bless them, the country folks. They're doing great, and Nashville is booming. Yeah. It's quite great. There's a lot of rock guys here now, though. I think Billy Gibbons bought a place here recently, and Tom Peterson from Cheap Trick, and a couple.
I think Tom Kiefer from Cinderella.
Yeah, he's here too.
Yep.
So it's a lot of rock guys are here, and that's cool. But that's not really my thing. Yeah. I try to not say that too much to upset them, but it's just the way it goes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we found that so many people nowadays are trying to really have a well-rounded ear. Jeff and I have been musicians ourselves for years, and when I was younger, it was like I grew up on Cream and Sabbath and Zeppelin and Chicago and just a little bit of everything, and listening to guys like Hank Williams Jr. and Conway Twitty and Johnny Cash, as you mentioned, from my father, listening to that, and then my mother would be turning around listening to America and whatever else. So Santana and all that. So it was like just a little bit of everything that I grew up. And then when I started playing, it was the early '80s that I started playing out and listening to, like, pigeonholing myself into, you can't listen to anything but heavy, and then when other stuff was coming out, I was like, no, can't listen to that. That's poser this, or that's this and that, and just let myself go down that path. And I find myself being older now, going back and saying, man, I really like a lot of blues and jazz and fusion and all this other stuff. And I'm like, this is good stuff. And why haven't I been listening to it? I think, I've mentioned on the show, B.B. King opened my eyes. I went and saw a show with B.B. years ago, and I was just like, this guy's been around my whole life, and why have I not been listening to this guy too? Because he's just such a great entertainer and storyteller that just made me open my eyes to more and more. But I could never get into the real heavy I couldn't get into country at all until recently, when I heard some of the heavier stuff. We had a guy by the name of Jason Charles Miller on the show, and his band is doing it's not like country rock like years ago. It's like country metal. So it's kind of different. If you ever get a chance, who knows, give it a listen. We're directing you to listen, try something new for a change, right?
I know. What are you, out of your mind?
So,
however, I'm going to jump right into this, because I want to say about 3 months ago, I came across a gentleman it came across my feed on Facebook, and it was, and I'm hoping I'm saying his name correctly, is Anthony Gomes, or is it Gomez? I'm not sure. Okay, what was it like working with him?
Oh, great! He's a great player, a great songwriter, and Ray Lugier is a dear friend of mine. He lives here too. He's an amazing drummer, plays with Korn now, and we've been friends for years. So we enjoyed laying down tracks for him. I played during the pandemic. I did maybe 300 tracks I recorded.
Wow.
For clients around the world. And but he was of course a standout. He's a pro guy. I mean, I played on all kinds of people's records, every style you could imagine. It was quite a learning experience. But Anthony he's a great player, and I think he opened up for a couple of shows we did, and I just remember him just doing great and people loving his band. It was pretty cool.
It was the first song I heard was Painted Horses, and I went, holy cow. That was, and then I saw the video with you in it, and I'm like, really? It was pretty cool.
It's fun.
Like I said, I've done 3, maybe more, maybe 400. At one point, we thought it was 600, but we recounted, and it wasn't quite 600 tracks. People all over, entire records, and then single songs for people all over. They just randomly would write to me, email me, and say, "Hey, can you play on my track?" And I learned right away. I had to tell people, I got to hear the song first. Because a couple of times I'd say yes, and I'd get the song, and it would be a mess, and it would really be tough to record because it wasn't together. So we made one condition that I got to hear it. And through all that, there was only one artist I didn't want to do it. It just wasn't.
Right.
But everyone else, if they didn't have it together, I could explain to them what they need to do, and they could do that and then come back to me. But all kinds of stuff too, from the entire spectrum of musical tastes. It was a great experience because one thing we learned from it. My engineer Scott, who lives here in Nashville as well. We'd hear a song with no bass, and it's not because it didn't have bass, but the song didn't sound together. And we'd look at each other and go, man, what are we going to do here? I'm not sure. And sometimes they give you a guide bass to show you what they kind of want, and that helped a lot. But sometimes they didn't. So you just got to make something up and insert it into a song that's already has drums and guitars and vocals. So it was an amazing transition. And again, it's not because of me and my bass playing, but just the bass in general, when done properly, I hope, in a song, what a huge difference it can make. And I would never be self-aggrandizing because I happen to be a bass player, but it's just to really see the importance of the instrument in making a song work, and or taking a song that is questionable and turning it into something that much better. So it was quite an interesting process to see, and I got to meet a lot of people online in this way, and a lot of great artists and great players. So it was a great experience, and Anthony certainly was a high point.
Do you find yourself? I've been a drummer for 30 years. Then I transitioned to frontman and singer, but I always found that there was if there was a drummer or a bass player that I was just like, this guy knows where I'm going. I know where he's going. We're in the pocket together. Do you find yourself, hey, if I can bring my drummer with me on whatever project, I want to do that. Do you kind of sway it that way? Because I know you work a lot with Mike Portnoy, and he's just, my God, he is right there in sync with you when you're playing, because he's another phenomenal player.
Well, that's my thing. I learned it early on before I even owned a bass. The guy who initially inspired me, Joe Hesse, played with a Buffalo band called The Road. They were, I think they only lasted into the 70s, I think. But he was a great bass player. He lived around the corner from me, and I went over to his house as a little kid normally they wouldn't let me in the house because I had to sit on the driveway and listen because I was a little tiny kid and they were all older teenagers. But he let me come in one time and he was practicing and it was just him and the drummer. I said, Joe, where's the rest of the band? He goes, oh, they'll be back later, but I practice with the drummer so I can hear what he does. And when he hits a bass drum, I got to hit a bass note, and that's how bass works. So before I even owned a bass, I found out the single most important aspect of ensemble playing as a bass player is you play with the drummer. Drummer drives the band. You follow what he does. So I do that with every player I play with. I've been lucky to play with some really great drummers. Dennis Chambers is a standout. He's just probably the greatest musician I know on any instrument. And you adjust to some degree with every drummer, but he was a real revelation to me because I play with mostly straight up rock 2/4 drummers,
right?
Some fusion guys. Mark Miller from Talas, he's an amazing. He can do anything, but Dennis had a feel and a groove that I had never worked with before, and he really made some big changes with me. I had to follow that. I had to lock into him, and so I had to really know what I was doing to do that. And we played a lot of tours together and did a lot of records with Niacin together, and he was quite a standout as far as drummers go. But yeah, I'm all about the drums. That's what I watch.
Do you find yourself being reinvigorated when you have to play with somebody or starting to play with somebody you have to like relearn their groove?
It's a pretty easy process for me now because I've done it so much and for so long. I can usually tell exactly what's going on with the drummer. And when I go to see a band, I usually watch the drummer first, and I'm either in about 30 to 40 seconds, literally, I can tell whether I'm going to stay or not. If the drummer has it together, I'll say, okay, let's take a look. But it's pretty easy to tell right away with all musicians, really. Actually, I've learned through the years I can usually tell how good a player is by speaking to him for about a minute, half a minute to 45 seconds.
Right.
Oh, wow.
Oddly. And I remember for years, I've guys come up and tell me this and tell me that. And I know, and I'm saying, yeah, great, that's cool. And in my mind, I'm going, I know this guy does not have what I'm looking for.
Right.
The opposite worked one time too. I met this guy years ago at Gentleman Gyms in it's a college town in New York State. I'll think of it in a minute. And he just was talking to me after a show, a Talas show, years and years and years ago. And right away, I know this guy was dangerous. They said, this guy's going to be trouble. He's amazing. Turned out his name was Chris Vorse. And he had his PhD in analytical philosophy. And I was at his house one time and opened up a book about this thick and randomly read a sentence. And he goes, that sounds like Thomas Aquinas. And I go, yeah, it is a chapter on Thomas Aquinas. So he really was a lot of people go to school and they have the thing on the wall, but they really didn't affect them as it should have.
Right.
This guy was very, very well educated, and he was just a genius player. He taught me about the modes and taught me about aspects of music that I had no idea, and learned a lot from him. So it goes both ways. You can usually tell how good a player is. And I've talked to other guys that have been around for, like myself, nearing over half a century. And a lot of people have that same kind of point of view. You can tell right away, just almost by how someone carries themselves, what they're going to be, what their playing is about, interestingly enough. And not in a negative way necessarily. I'm not trying to, be negative towards it, but sometimes you have to separate the wheat from the chaff when you're looking for a good player, and right away sometimes you can tell.
I think I've been influenced by a lot of people, and one of the guys that really just moved me was we had Rick Latham on, and Rick is just so versatile and such. And I remember growing up taking music and music theory and percussion, and one of the syncopation books that I used was one of Rick's books. So when he was on the show, I was like, I got Rick Latham, the guy I used to read these books in school, and that's how I learned to play and read music was through Rick Latham. And I think that you can tell the people that have the passion and just get it, and they're not being just blowhards. They're
yeah, that's for sure.
They put their arms around their craft. So and I think that's why when we look at the guests that we've had on the show, I mean, you've definitely made your mark and really have had people be influenced by yourself. Some of the bigger names that are out there. So, I'm sure you get a lot of people throwing you praise, but it's duly worth it. It's just phenomenal, some of the stuff you've done.
Sure.
And
right on.
And I know that even Jeff being a guitar player, you can respect a lot of the different ways. I mean, you're blazing your own path.
Well, for sure, because if you think about it, the way he plays with Paul Gilbert is just phenomenal. I mean, the solo, in fact, in Daddy Brother, Lover Little Boy, that the way you guys did that was just fantastic, and it's almost harmonized, or it is harmonized, I should say. But I thought it was a fantastic. The whole album's fantastic for one.
Thanks very much.
He also breaks the mold with not sitting still on stage.
Yes.
Yes, in case somebody throws something, they'll miss.
Even better.
We've had a
somebody out there with a sniper rifle. God
that's right.
I'm gonna find him.
Sidewinder.
I'm gonna find him.
Serpentine. Yeah, we've had some of the iconic what we called oil can moments where we've had the bass player that didn't move at all, and I'm like, when we watch you, I'm like, see, this is why even a 3-piece works, because Billy's running around and he's engaging compared to not.
Yeah, and it's never calculated what happens. But one thing that's been bothering me, pardon me, lately is people talking about, yeah, you got to make the face. I go, no. If you're making a face, you miss the whole point of all music and everything anyone has ever done ever. You don't ever. I never make a face.
Right.
But then you see a picture of me making a face. I'm not making the face. The face happens when you're lifting, trying to bench press 250 pounds, and your face. Are you thinking, what face should I make as I'm pushing this weight? You don't think. If you hear a joke, you don't think, that was funny. How should I laugh? Ha ha ha. Oh,
right.
Or he. Let me think about that for a minute. It's not how it works. And you see people talking about having to make a face.
Yeah.
We're instantly eliminated from my iTunes.
Right.
That's for sure.
Right.
It's just not. Yeah. So it's funny. So yeah, way back in the early days, I just do what I do. There's no thought involved in it. It's funny in the rehearsals places in Japan. I've had the opportunity to be in a couple for certain situations, and each rehearsal place pretty much has a wall that is a mirror, so the band can see themselves on stage. And I thought, oh, you're missing the point completely. Yeah. That's
right.
what you're, so it's a funny thing.
Well, you have to be moved by what you're playing and just let it come organically.
Exactly.
And I've always said with any bass player or any drummer in the bands that I've been in, if I was the singer, I don't expect you to have to play note for note the solos, the drum hits, feel it. And if you guys are jiving, I don't care if the album does this or that. Play it how your heart's telling you to play, within a boundary.
Get unrecognizable. When people come to hear "To Be With You" with Mr. Big, I play pretty much how I played it on the record.
Right.
That's what they want to hear. But there's times to improvise as well. We do a lot of that in the Winery Dogs, and I've done that a lot in Niacin, and when it's a Thursday night in some club back in the days, and there's a table with 4 people at it and 1 waitress. Some improvising will probably take place.
How long has it been since you've had a night like that, though?
Well, probably not since the mid-'70s, I think.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unfortunately, we know that feeling.
We did.
Yeah, it's okay. We played a show one time, I think it was in Rhode Island, back in the Talas days, and there was one table, literally, of guys, and there was 4 or 5 of them. And we played. We went on, did everything we normally do.
Yeah.
And through the years, I've run into every one of those guys. I'm on Sunset
really?
Street, and a guy comes and says, "Hey, you played this club in Rhode Island?" I go, "Yeah, there's a table." They go, "Yeah, we were there. I can't believe it." And then some other place in some American, yeah, and I go, "I ran into one of the other guys. It was unbelievable." So through the years, I've actually run into all 4, and they had a riot. They loved the show, and they had a great time, and they were so happy that we didn't care whether there was 4 people there or 40,000, and
Right.
that was you kind of have to be in that state of mind to really. I think doing that opens the door to you playing for 40,000 people, because that's a necessary thing. You can't judge by the size of the audience how sincere you're going to be.
Right.
And that's a big mistake.
Jeff, what was Blue Oyster called when they came out as a tester name? That
Fat White Underbelly.
Yeah. So they booked that show here that time, and I ended up going to see who was playing at the Lost that night, and I'm like, that's freaking Blue Oyster Cult up there. There's like 11 people in the bar, and they just didn't. Nobody got I was like, why is this happening? But
it happens.
Yeah.
I went to see. U2 opened up for Talas one time.
Nice.
And a lot of people didn't believe us later on. And as usual, the rumor changed through the years that all kinds of crazy extra things got thrown in. But we were playing at a club in Buffalo owned by the promoter. And he would bring in national acts as our opening act,
Mm-hmm.
because we did Monday night and it was always packed. So to put the band in front of people was good for them. So U2 opened up for Talas. And afterwards we got done, and there's a little note from The Edge in the dressing room written on the envelope for his string, thanks for having us, signed The Edge. And there was a girl there who was a big fan of them, so I gave it to her. And I didn't think much of it then, but then as the years went by, they played in Rich Stadium, where the Bills play, sold out. They're huge now, and they're the biggest band in the world.
Right.
And somebody recorded that show and sent it to me. So after they finished the song, Bono starts singing a Beatles song just into the mic, just kind of ad-libbing.
Sure.
He said, you remember that because he played in Buffalo the night John Lennon was killed, because that was the night John Lennon was killed. After U2 left, we were going to go do 2 sets. We did 1 set, took a break, and found out about it. And then we went back on stage without saying a thing and just played Beatles songs all night long. And we could see through the crowd as people understood what happened that night, why we were doing that. It was a very emotional night. So he said over the mic at Rich Stadium, "Yeah, I remember we played in Buffalo that night." And he goes, and we were amazed because there was people there, because they were playing to very small crowds. They were just new. He goes, "We were amazed because there's people there." And he goes, "Probably because we were opening up for a band called Talas." And you could hear all the jaws collectively drop out of the 80,000 people in Rich Stadium, because they'd heard that rumor for years, but nobody thought it was really true. So I got Bono on stage announcements in my iTunes explaining to people.
That's great.
For Talas. Pretty funny.
You just
They were great then too. They were really a great band, and they got all of the success they deserved. That's for sure.
Well, he owes you though. So, just go out to Vegas to the Sphere, and you guys share a stage with U2 again. And
oh, I don't know if they'd allow that.
Billy, I got to ask you, what was it like working with Bumblefoot? Because everything I've ever seen him, he's a different character. Let's put it that way.
He's a great player, great singer, nice guy. Very creative person. He knows all the Talas songs too. He came up and with the Talas, we call it version 2. It's actually version 9 with Phil Narrow singing and Mark Miller on drums. He came up and did a couple songs. Those we played in New York City 4 years ago, I think it was, and he knew all the Talas songs. So when we at soundcheck, he'd start doing a Talas song. And, hey, I recognize that.
So did you break into one during Sons of Apollo?
Say again?
Did you break into a few Talas songs during Sons of Apollo?
No, because those songs in that band were complicated and required. There wasn't a lot of jamming going on. It was you had to play the script pretty much to play those songs. There was a lot. They were complicated pieces, so it was important to stick to the recipe rather than improvise.
And they're fantastic songs. I mean, I've heard every album so far. I'm hoping there's at least a few more in you.
But we shall see.
Yeah. I know exactly what you're saying. So yes.
Yeah, Jeff is our historian.
I don't know if you've read some other meaning in that. I just don't know what the future of that particular band is.
Right.
Billy, what's one of the most memorable places you've played in your tenure, more 50, 40, 30 year?
There's been a lot of amazing places. We played in Kobe, Japan, I think it was. A little club, which was unusual for us. We did it as a special gig for some event. And it was right after the Kobe earthquake.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people lost their lives. And so I didn't know if it was a tradition in Japan or not. But we said, should we before we went on stage, should we do it like a moment of silence?
Right.
They said, yeah, that might be a good idea. Okay. So we did a couple songs, and we stopped for a minute and say, hey, we'd like to blah, blah, blah. We did a moment of silence. It was silent. Absolutely very touching, very silent. Quite amazing. I'm not sure what that gentleman's doing on the screen down there. But
yeah, I don't know what you're doing either, Jeff.
I don't either. Okay.
Wow, that was weird. So anyway, I kind of lost the spirit of that question there. So maybe ask another one. I wasn't sure what that was. What's that's all about? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he dropped his phone or something on the ground. So, the spirit of kind of touching the same thing. I mean, you've played with so many different. Is there any one band that you said you didn't know you were going to do the project? Then when you did, you were just like, wow, this has just been so much fun and such a great project. I mean,
yeah. Well, usually I know going in what how it's gonna go. Wow. Can he hear us?
Yep, I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good. Sorry.
Yeah, we're not used to doing Jeff being remote, so he's probably got some issues going on over there. You okay, Jeff?
We're fixed.
Okay, good. I had asked Jeff. I had asked if there was any one particular project that just wowed him.
Mm-hmm.
So. It's a little different when you're in the band. We're throwing the party, so we're not enjoying the party. So people will look at it from the outside. Oh, you must be so excited. No, we're working. I got a lot to do. I got to go on stage. I got to remember all the songs. I got to get to there's a lot to do. We're people. Right. Well, I see people make comments on some of my posts. Hey, did you go out and check out we can't leave the building. We get there, sound check. I'm there. I'm working all day long up to showtime.
Yeah.
I don't have time. And then after that, we got to get to the next gig. So a lot of people look at it as some kind of a big party situation, but it's a lot of work. I've seen guys on the road in a fetal position crying for their mommy. they're so overloaded and overwhelmed with how difficult it is sometimes.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily so at all. So I relate that to, sitting around. We're not observing the band. We're playing in the band. So we can't just say, hey, this is really fabulous.
Right.
I don't recall me ever thinking that ever really, because I'm working.
Yeah.
I gotta
Sure.
put it together, and usually once you get to a point where you get to the top of any particular mountain you're climbing, I'm immediately onto the next mountain. I don't. Pride is the worst of the 7 deadly sins.
There you go. Yeah, I've noticed a lot of people from 80s, 90s popularity kind of finding a resurgence in places like Japan, and just like overwhelmingly huge response that may not get that here as much. I know that Mr. Big.
Like who?
Well,
like who?
I mean, I was talking to Jason Bittner from Overkill, and he was saying, he's like, wow, man, we're just killing it over there. It's like they're just like,
yeah, I know Jason. He's a good guy.
Like reinventing. Some of the crowds are just like reinventing.
Well, in fact, right now it's kind of not anymore. There's the whole all the magazines that were featuring Western bands are gone, and it's not much of it's more local scene there now, and a lot of K-pop Korean bands.
Okay.
And so the rock scene in Japan is kind of it's not really there much anymore. It was in the 80s and 90s, but they're funny in Japan too. I know bands that went over there and thought, hey, we're automatic. We're in Japan. They're going to love everything we do. And they went over and they never got asked back again.
Yeah.
When we went over there, I started my first time there was 1988 on my own doing bass clinics. And did 3 clinics at big venue, 3,000 seaters. And when we got there with Mr. Big, we already kind of been introduced. I used our demo tape as walk-in music for those clinics. So we hit it hard. We didn't expect them to like us. We got on stage and hit it as hard or harder than ever before, and it paid off. But a lot of bands went over and thought, oh, Japan, it's automatic here, right? So let's just go up there and fake it to lazily get through our set, and they never went back again. It was a pretty tough crowd over there. So, but that was that. It's not the scene is quite different now. It's not that generation has moved on, and it's a new generation there now.
Did it surprise the heck out of you when Mr. Big went over Winery Dogs that both? I mean, you sold out shows in hours. I mean, from what
we do good there. It wasn't so much a surprise. I mean, very, very thankful and very happy about it, of course. But you kind of know what's coming.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of know when you play a particular place what's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's no easy task to get there. I mean, it's literally and figuratively. Literally, it's a 14-hour, 16-hour flight. But I always time my travel door to door. So when I leave my door, how long it takes me to get to the airport, how long you get 2 hours, you get there 2 hours early on an international flight. There's security, there's all that. There's customs and immigration when you land. Then how far is the airport from your hotel? So usually the travel time is, especially overseas, it's usually 20, 24 hours. Solid travel before you walk into your hotel room. Yeah, that's got to be taxing on anybody. And
I can imagine.
And I think with a seasoned person that they know, hey, this, like you said, this is a job. This isn't a party. We're not going to get here. And some of the years ago, I'm sure some of the younger minds that hit those same places were like, look where we are. Let's go crazy. And then you sit back and you're like, oh. you're going to be burned out
you
before
your show.
Yeah, you're going to be burned out before the third show's over. So I think it's makes you stop and think more.
Because singers start to lose their voices, and I've never been like in a heavy party band or drug band really.
Mm-hmm.
Wine and beers and a couple shots maybe, but not a heavy. I mean, I haven't even had an aspirin since 1971. I don't do any drugs at all. But I do enjoy some wine or a good bourbon or something like that. But it's never before a show. Right. Maybe during show, about a third or half the way through, when I know that everything's going okay, I can reach over and have a little sip of something. But even then, I can't perform when I'm not at 100%. And even then, it's tough.
Yeah. Jeff, you look like you were going to ask your typical question there.
No,
you weren't.
I was not.
Oh, okay.
Actually, I was looking to see, Mr. Big's starting up again, the tour. And are you guys
the farewell tour? Yeah.
The farewell tour, yeah. You're starting in January.
We started already in
Southeast
Japan and Southeast Asia. We did already, and then we'll do USA, Europe, South America. Thank you. Good night.
Wow.
Oh. How many is it going through 2024?
Yeah, probably till the summer. It's a big world out there, so a farewell tour is going to take a little time because we do want to play. We played all over the world with that band, and I would not want to leave South America out. We have great, wonderful friends down there, amazing fans, as well as in Europe too. We already played Japan, China, Japan, Korea, Philippines, Thailand, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, Singapore, Jakarta, Indonesia, and probably leaving a couple out too. We did that already.
Wow. Oh, wow. Well, I noticed you're coming to Rome, New York, so I think Mike and I are going to try to make the trip.
Great. Yeah. Buffalo, again, didn't book the band I'm in, so Rome is as close as we're getting to it. So a lot of people are coming from Buffalo already, so I'm glad about that. I'll see some good friends.
It's amazing. It's like your alma mater, I mean, that blows me away.
What are you going to do? What are you doing? I'm doing a Christmas show there on December 8th in Buffalo. I do it every year. I do it for free. I pay my own way and my own flight. I stay at my cousin's house or at a hotel that I pay for. And we do it to benefit the local Buffalo music scene. Music Cares, I think, is the name of the organization. Mm-hmm. And, I do my best to try to contribute to what the place that I grew up in, but I will continue, but it doesn't seem to be too reciprocal on their part. They don't want to book my bands. Hey, okay, we'll play. So we'll play in Rome.
Yeah, when in Rome, we'll let the people in Rome enjoy the music and make a little money for themselves.
Got some dear friends there. The Mitchick sisters. Who used to come see me play all the time. They're wonderful girls, and they'll be there. So I'm looking forward to seeing them.
That's awesome.
Do you have an opener for? Do you have an opener for this U.S. leg?
I have no idea. I never know about this stuff. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Oh, that's usually done by locals.
I usually find out when they start if there is an opener, and then
okay.
And then I often don't find out because that's before show and I'm busy, so I don't get a chance to see them. For Anthony Gomes, I made a point to go out and check him out because we played on his record. But unfortunately, it's just not time. There's no time. I gotta get ready for the show. And I'm on this all day long, warming up and practicing, and so there's a lot to do before a show. So I unfortunately don't get to see the opening act. Actually, as soon as the opening act starts, that's my cue to get dressed and get ready. So,
I'm not sure they were, but they sounded okay.
Yeah, we've had some great ones and wonderful people. And if I do get a chance to hear them, I certainly let it be known how much I enjoyed it. But there's a lot of work involved.
Has there been any moments playing throughout your career that have stood out to just be just one of the funny stories that maybe the people listening would never have known without being told that something might have gone awry or some kind of funny little incident?
Well, the UFO tour was quite. It was after I got home from the UFO tour in 1983. I went to the movies and saw Spinal Tap, and it wasn't funny. It was not funny. I didn't laugh once because I just lived exactly what's going on there. And I remember thinking, is this supposed to be funny? And later on, it's hilarious, and I like the movie, but it was a tough situation. They were kind of in a bad state then, and we played some amazing places. Everywhere we played, some historical huge event was happening. Our first show was in Gdansk, Poland, the night that Lech Walesa got out of prison. And it was still under Soviet rule. And there was tanks and Soviet military everywhere. And of course, you couldn't even talk about Solidarność, which was the Polish word for solidarity, that union that they were trying to create,
right,
which began the fall of the Soviet empire, the communist empire. So it was quite a historical situation. So we were playing, and the kids were jammed up to the front of the stage. The whole stage was actually moving because there were so many people.
Oh, wow.
And some little kid was right in front, looked at me. Now, at various times, these guards with white sticks, and I remember seeing them on the footage about Gdansk on the news, because they were out, anybody was rioting, they had these cops with these long white sticks beating the crap out of people. So they were at the show, and they would randomly wade into the crowd, swinging the stick. I think, what the fuck is going on here? Unbelievable.
Right.
So some little kid is jammed in the front of the auditorium, and I look down at him. He holds up a pin for Solidarność. Totally illegal. You go right to jail if they caught you.
Oh. Right.
He holds it up, and I said, for me? But yeah, so I looked around, I went and grabbed the pin ran back to my crew guy. I said, hang on to this, put it in your pocket. And I thought I lost it, because when I got home, I told my dad about it. I said, Dad, check this out. It's a pin. He goes, oh, thanks a lot. I didn't mean to give it to him. I could say, oh, no. Okay. So when he passed away, my brother went and cleaned up. Did you find a little pin? He goes, oh, yes. I have that back. Okay. So I still got it to this day. And I remember telling that story. We just played in Poland with the Winery Dogs. Amazing. The Polish people are just so great. And Poland is just booming. It's so fantastic. I told that story to a couple of friends there, and they were quite taken with it, because that was a turning point for their country completely. After that, they shook off all the remaining World War II problems and boomed quite amazingly.
Right.
Amazing people. Warsaw is just a boom city, and it's beautiful, and the people are great, and the food is amazing. So that was but that was on that UFO tour that happened. Then we played in Lyon, France, the day they brought Klaus Barbie, the Nazi butcher of Lyon, to trial.
Right.
And we're driving along, and we get stopped by the military police. So their little convoy could go to the courthouse, so Klaus Barbie could be tried for his Nazi war crimes. Pretty amazing. Then we played in Lisbon, Portugal, on the day that Portugal was considering leaving NATO, which is a big deal then.
Oh, yeah.
And there were jets flying over our hotel. And it's amazing that you could be in a military and be shooting and have a jet fly over, and at that point just don't go, I quit, I'm done. Just a jet alone, no bullets, no bombs, flying low over our hotel was overwhelming.
Sure.
It was incredible. Then we played in Italy. What happened there? The Killers of Aldo Moro. I think it was a U.S. Representative in Europe. I forgot at the embassy, some consulate or whatever, some guy, Aldo Moro. I forgot the whole historical story, but the guys that killed him were being brought to trial again when we were there, I think it might have been Rome. We played a couple cities, Milan, Rome, and another one in Italy. So we got stopped at the motorcade for him going to trial. So everywhere we went, some historical thing was happening. But the shows were pretty good. We had a blast. I love those songs. I love those guys. And Dr. Doctor and Love to Love and just some great songs. But the singer, Phil Mogg, who was a great singer, a wonderful guy, he was having a rough time and a little bit went overboard a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And the other guys in the band were kind of upset about him. And at one point, he fell off the front of the stage. So you could see this microphone cord go right to the edge of the stage and then go. And I looked up to the drummer, Andy Parker, and I go, Phil fell off the stage. And he's playing, he's so pissed off. He goes, they can keep him. He was so pissed off. And then the most notable, we were playing in Athens, Greece. Huge crowd, unbelievable. And people started throwing shit because Phil was really out of it. And they threw a couple fireworks, like an M80 came up on stage. And bam, blew up. Man, that's dangerous. We kept going, we kept playing. So I'm back kind of by my amp. I'll be back here, you guys. See, before I was talking about moving around. It's a great to move around. So Phil comes back to me. He's pretty hammered. And he goes, Billy, I think if we come to the front of the stage, we can get them. Meaning we can really get the audience do good. So, okay. So I came up to the front of the stage with Phil and I'm playing away. And all of a sudden, bang, explosion. And I thought I got hit with an M80 in the head.
Oh.
And, so I didn't stop playing. I kept playing. And I ran over to the side of the stage, and the crew guys were there with a flashlight. Somebody had, I thought initially it was a rock, but somebody had taken a big Greek beer can. They were like a 16-ounce all steel can before aluminum can, and crushed it down to the size of a hockey puck and threw it, and it hit me in the head.
Oh.
So I rode to the side of the stage, and the crew guys are there, come here, with a flashlight. And I said to them, am I bleeding? And they look at each other and go, should we tell them? Because there was blood all
No.
Just a little.
So I was still playing while we're doing that. We wiped it off. It's okay. I'm cool. It's all right. I went back and finished the show. But that was that.
Wow.
So I don't think they were actually aiming for me, but I got hit.
Yeah, they were aiming for your singer.
Right.
Now I know why you have to serpentine on stage all the time, just in case.
Well, fortunately, no one's throwing anything at me other than panties. No, I'm kidding.
You
Well, now
post
some of them are kind of shallow hell size.
so you got to put your hands in front, left and right. Oh, I get it now. There's always the one in the middle. You posted something on your page that was just this fan that just screamed like you were the Beatles coming out, and I just saw the look on your face where you had this grin, like didn't see that coming, and I think you were just like it overwhelmed me, and it's great to see the people still do it.
Oh, I think that was in the Philippines. The Philippines, they are a great audience. They sing every song.
Right.
And the Philippines is known for singers. The guy from Journey is a Filipino.
Exactly. Right.
Singing is what they do. Our first time we played there, me and another guy from the band were at the hotel bar, which was pretty empty, except for a table full of very drunk Germans. And there was a little stage, tiny little stage, maybe 6 by 8 or something, but they had a whole giant band up there with drummer, and they're all crammed up there. 3 girls singing, a horn section,
right?
And they were great. They were really good. So we're just sitting watching them and hanging out and having a drink, and they said, "Any requests?" And I'd be smart ass me. I said,
"Mr.
Oh boy,
Whitney Houston, The Greatest Love." Stage clears, and one girl steps up to the mic, knocked it out of the park.
No.
Oh, wow.
We had tears in our eyes.
That's great.
She killed it. Amazing. So the end of the set, and we went back, and she was there with her mom. I said, your daughter is just what a talent. Holy God, she kicked that. So the Filipinos, they do some singing, and we would play. They would sing the guitar solos. They do that in Brazil too.
Right.
Particular song, they'll sing the solo, the notes of the solo that the guitar player plays. So we've been fortunate to have some very enthusiastic audiences through the years. And it happens everywhere. I mean, it happens in Oklahoma. It happens in Bulgaria. It happens in Warsaw or Newcastle, England. And so I'm pretty happy about the kindness people have shown us.
What's the biggest crowd you've played for?
100,000 people on the beach in Sao Paulo, Brazil, Jack's Beach. We played, it was a local band, the Lemonheads, Henry Rollins, and Mr. Big. That was the lineup on the beach, Sao Paulo. So we got there early, and we did a quick sound check, and we hanging out in the dressing room waiting, and the first band went on. We heard them. I went out and looked for a minute, and I said, it's a big crowd here. I told the guys, that's pretty big. Wow, amazing. The Lemonheads went on, and we'll check out it again. It's bigger. It's pretty huge. You should go out and look. Holy cow, there's a lot of people there. Henry Rollins went up. That show was notable for him. So if you see photos of him playing live, and he's got a lot of blood on him, they started the show and he ran out and he jumped and kicked his knee up and hit himself in the nose with his knee and was pouring blood out of his nose for the whole thing. But it didn't faze him. He's a pretty amazing artist too. I actually like him quite a bit. And then now it was Mr. Big. We didn't know, but at the time they were using a couple of our songs in the music in the soap operas on daytime television. So everybody knew who we were and everybody knew the songs.
Right.
So, and we had no idea. We just went out there and thought, wonder who all the people are here for. It was us. We had no idea.
No.
And so we got up there and the place went berserk. It was unreal. And it was one of those shows where the audience is just so hot and so great that, you could break your leg and still keep playing. It was just, they really pushed this to so enthusiastic. That energy you get from a crowd is amazing. So now out in the audience, it was getting out of control because there were so many people. There's bonfires going out there and people dancing around them. You could see, and you could see for a mile, there was just people, an ocean of people. And it's starting to get dark. And there was a whole bunch of security guys and cops in front of us and a little barricade in front of us. Getting near the end of the set, they're gone. And so we're up there by ourselves thinking if something goes wrong, this could be deadly,
right.
Literally.
Sure.
So we're playing and getting near the end of the set, and we did To Be With You. The place went out of their minds, and I noticed a whole bunch of trucks. It was the military. They sent the army in to break up the crowd. It was that big. So
wow.
So
that's crazy.
That was great, and that was the biggest crowd. It was pretty cool.
That's awesome. And it's funny when I hear the same. I've asked that question to a couple people, and I think Ben Morrow, who he had on the show, who's from Syracuse originally, played with Lionel Richie for 20 years, and he said a similar incident where he played a show in England, and he felt when he looked out and saw a sea of faces out there, and he raised his hands over his head to clap, and he just sees 100,000 or more people clapping along with him. He was like, it's such a surreal moment that no matter how many shows you've played, when that something like that happens, it just impacts you for life. And it sounds like it did the same for that show down there. So that's pretty cool to hear that you've had a similar.
Very.
Not everybody can say that. I think Jeff and I, our biggest moment was a show of 5,000 people, and we thought we were on the top of the world. for a
That's
show.
cool.
You're gonna make it.
Oh, I played shows in front of 40 people that were a riot.
Yeah.
Or even less. Again, like I said earlier, the crowd size doesn't matter, but there's an energy you get from situations like that is pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yes.
So the only thing I've got left I just need to know, having any type of that fanboy moment we've talked about that you've, I mean, right. Obviously playing a show like that is just like, but is there any other artists that you've met, worked with? It doesn't even have to be an artist. I mean, we've had people say that they played for the Queen of England or played for the President of the United States
Well, our last show in Japan, the Commandant of the USS Ronald Reagan came to the show, and I invited him backstage, and I got to meet him.
That's cool.
He's stationed in Japan right now. That was cool. My uncle was the Commandant of the United States Coast Guard in the 60s, and so I mentioned that to him. And I think he knew who he was, too. It was pretty cool.
Right.
So that was. I think the guy is also from New York State, because he was friends with. He got in touch with me through Fred Coury, who played drums in Cinderella.
Yeah.
Who was from downstate,
Cortland area, I think, Binghamton. Yeah. It's funny you mentioned him, because I have the challenge coin for the Commandant of the Ronald Reagan. Yeah, I
do too.
My cousin just retired from the Navy. He spent most of his life on the Mount Pillier nuke sub, and but just so happened to have that challenge coin, and I got it in the mail, and I was like, wow, the Ronald Reagan, this is big stuff. It's, the Commandant's challenge coin. So yeah, I hold that close to the heart, because, if you're in the bar and they're going to pull a challenge coin out, that's a pretty important one,
Yeah, pretty cool.
That's awesome. I mean, we could go on and on. There's so much great stuff. I mean, we haven't even touched on some of the things that I'm sure you've been. Your resume is just such a great one, and I can't.
I resume.
Yeah, right.
You resume.
Keep resuming.
Yes.
I'll give you the recite.
Last question, and I'll let you get on with your day, but even though it's late, but David Lee Roth did some stuff with him. Some people say it's a difficult time. Some people say it's not. It's a great time, and I see even some controversy now with the reunion type tour going on. How was it to work with David?
That's an illegal question.
Okay.
Right.
Well, then we'll move on. We will.
No reason to say it. It was 40, almost 40. No, 80, 85, 38 years ago. I just been, I'm not being a smart ass, but at some point, I think, I've told that story so many times in so many places that we could move on.
Yeah, that's all good. That's all good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Besides playing in Rome, coming up, I mean, the farewell tour for Mr. Big, Winery Dogs. Are we going to see something upstate New York from that project?
No, we finished our tour, and I'm going to be busy with Mr. Big. Richie's got his thing. Mike's got his thing. So we're going to reconnect at a point in the future and get back to work with that. But we're all, we all have a lot of things that we're doing other than the Winery Dogs. But that's really one of my favorite bands I've ever been involved with at all. It's just really a riot to play in that. So we'll be continued at a later date.
Yeah. Well,
nice.
I'll tell you, seeing Mike go back with some, the other project back again is kind of cool to see too. So who knows, we might be able to convince Mike to come on the show or not, but he's another, idol of mine. So you never know.
Idol of everyone's.
That's right.
All good.
Billy, I again, I've said it a number of times. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. you coming on the show.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
And you know, it's been a long road getting you here, and I know you've been so busy, and just to carve out a day like this, just meant the world to me. So,
really, truly appreciated.
Yeah.
My pleasure, gentlemen. It's totally cool. Yeah, I recorded today, and then there was a wet spot on the ceiling of my garage, so we had a leak. So we had a guy here with a camera and looking for where it was, and so.
Listen, it's better. It's better than 2-3 feet of snow, right?
Well, no, 2-3 feet of snow would be outside. This is on the inside leaking.
Yeah, well, true.
2-3 feet. I was there. I was in Buffalo for the blizzard of '77, and that was I don't know how many people died in that, but a lot. And right in the middle of it, I remember walking down the street. I just wanted to be in the blizzard, and cars were pulling over. Like, you okay? You need a ride? I'm fine. I'm enjoying the blizzard. But I remember as a kid going to school. I walked to school every day and pushing snow with my chest to get to the corner. And
wow.
I had a lot of snow memories, but it was great. Growing up in Buffalo was fantastic. In the Western New York area, it was just a wonderful place and incredible memories back then. What was the club in Rome, New York? I know there was a club there back in the day. Do you guys recall?
I don't. I'd be lying if I said I even
don't either. Exactly.
There's so many places have changed over so many times.
There's no original club left in Buffalo that I played at. Not even one.
And we will say it, and you mentioned it when we were talking earlier before the show started recording, but the Lost Horizon's been here for years and is still going strong today, even after and
it's part of the pole.
We have a picture.
The pole, Billy. The pole is gone.
It's gone.
Oh,
yeah.
You're kidding. Now there's news.
Yeah,
the pole. The pole's gone.
There was also the Slide In and Poorhouse West.
Yes.
Oh my God, yeah.
The Slide In was owned by Dave Buno, and Jeff. I don't know if you even knew that, but Dave went on to own a place out in Brewerton here, and Jeff played there number of times. So Dave is still he's out of the club business finally, but he's still around hanging out, and
right now
that was a great place.
We had the throughway circuit. We'd be Buffalo, Batavia, Rochester, Syracuse, and then Albany. Albany had a lot of clubs. So right out straight across New York State, Buffalo had like a zillion clubs. Batavia had a place called the Primitive Scene, oddly. And then Rochester had the Penny Arcade.
Yes.
The Orange Monkey, Riverboat, 3 or 4 other. And then Syracuse, of course, Lost Horizon. Was it Yellow Balloon also?
Yellow Balloon was next door. Yellow Balloon was the Lost Horizon.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Then Albany had Dudley Do-Rights, Allen's Beef and Brew. There was a Tri-City area, Troy, Schenectady, Albany.
Yes.
And they had a lot of clubs there. We opened up for Pat Travers there. And we played the area a lot, so we had a huge, wonderful group of fans there. So we go to open up for Pat Travers. The show starts, and everybody runs up from their seats to the front because we knew them all. They were all our friends. They go, all right, Talas, open up for... And they cut the power on us.
Really?
Unplugged us.
A
couple songs in. They didn't want us scoring as an opening act, so that was when
That's just dumb.
Pat Travers snorting whiskey and drinking cocaine.
Well, I don't think he even probably knew about it with some crew guy or road manager or something.
Right.
They pulled the plug on us because the crowd was enjoying us too much. So.
Back then I think probably DMR was the one doing a lot of that booking for the throughway gigs. Dave Resnick might have had a lot to do with that because he was doing a lot of the booking for up and down the throughway.
I remember what productions it was. It was in the. We also did with down the Mid Hudson Civic Center with Blue Oyster Cult. We opened for them there one time.
Yeah,
a little south.
Well, you know that the Albany, Saratoga's got such a number of venues to play in Albany now. So up and down that whole Northway, lot of great music coming out of there still. And Syracuse is like I said, we still have the Lost, but we still have a couple other venues. I mean, I don't know I think Mr. Big would probably be a little too big for some of these clubs, but if you ever need to play here, we can hook you up with a venue.
All right.
Going through, yeah, it'll be a little bit smaller crowd than on a beach somewhere with 100,000 people, but we would love to come see you play. And
I hope you can. Let me know.
Yeah, we'll reach out to you.
Get in touch around that time.
Yes, sure. Definitely.
Yeah, well, I'm excited to be playing in the area. Again, a lot of people already are coming from Buffalo. I've heard from a lot of people on social media and email. The busloads of people will be coming in, so that's good. So
for the people listening at home, Rome Capitol Theater, February 10th, to see Mr. Big on their farewell tour. We want to make sure that you reach out if you need help getting to where to go for the tickets. And if they have to, if they oversell, then maybe we can convince them to do 2 nights.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'd be happy to.
Why not?
Sell out 2 shows. That's all.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we just did. We sold out our first Tokyo show, so they added another show in front of all the others because you can't. Sometimes it depends on what's booked already.
Right.
You can't add a date, or if there's another date booked, you can't blow that one off to add one.
Right.
So they actually put another show out front for our Tokyo shows with the Winery Dogs. We had just a wonderful time there. I'm still a little jet lagged, so I'm a little incoherent. I apologize.
Well, that's all right.
I'm not sneaking a drink down here on the side.
I even said to Jeff, I said, well, geez, he only got back a couple days ago from everything. So,
they say it should be one day recovery for every time zone. And it's
6.
14.
Oh, geez, really?
14 hours.
Wow.
But I've never abided by that. But that, even from the early days, I started, instead of fighting the jet lag, if it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon and I'm tired, just go to sleep. I did that today. That's why I was late for you guys. I apologize. I go, I'll just lay down for a few minutes before the interview. And then I check my phone. No.
That's all right. I said to Jeff, I go, that's it. Good. I said, I said, hopefully we'll be able to do this and he's, doesn't blow us off, but then we'll have to say, well, that's all right. We just want to be backstage for the Rome Capitol Theater show. And that's it. That's a nice payback, for sorry I was late. Kidding. I'm totally half-heartedly kidding. So anyways.
I know a hint when I hear one.
Yeah. No, that's all right. Again,
that's good.
Thanks for being on the show.
My pleasure, gentlemen. Thanks for having me. I hope you don't get snowed in.
Yeah, well,
I'm already there.
Yeah, well, that's all right. I work from home for the real job, and so it's all right. I'll just make phone calls tomorrow. I'm not driving anymore.
Right. So, there you go.
Yeah, be safe.
All right, well, good deal. Thanks for having me on. Stay in touch. I hope I see you guys when Mr. Big plays in Rome.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. And if you're ever promoting anything or you ever want anything thrown out there, just shoot me a message and say, hey, Mike, mention this on the show, and we'll do it for you.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, we can't thank you enough. So there you go, guys. Billy. All right,
I enjoyed talking with you both. See you soon.
Thanks.
And to all your watchers and listeners, wishing you all the best and have a great holiday, too.
You too, sir. Thank you so much, Bill. Again.
All right.
All right, man. Thanks. We'll talk to you soon.
Take care, Billy.
There you go. There you go, Jeffrey.
There it is.
I'm starting the music now. I'm starting the music.
That's the edit point, right?
That's it. That's the end.
That is it.
Okay, you guys. Thanks a million.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Billy.
Be in touch, and I'll see you around. Have a great holiday.
You too, sir. See you
as well.
Bye-bye.
All right. Take care.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
You've been listening to The Good.
The band.
You're going to jump in and make sure you say this on time. You want to try it again? The Good.
The band.
The Ugly. I'm Big Papa.
And I'm Jeff.
Just frickin' Jeff. from home.
Jeff, promote from home.
What the hell? What a great show. Thank you again, Billy Sheehan, for being on the show. Want to thank Auk Medical Supply for being a sponsor, Sharky's Event Center, GJ Life's the Beach, Good Nature Brewing Company, Uncle Jimmy's Local Live Music, the Print Shop Underground, Toffee Break Toffee, and of course, Jeff, your favorite.
Oh, my absolute favorite, Snarky Productions.
You got to thank Snarky Productions.
But
all right, guys, we'll see you next week. We've got big shows next week coming up. I'm not even going to tell you who, but we can't wait to have you back on. Be good to each other. Thank you for listening, and send us a message if you got anybody you want to see. Peace.